right, so we are in our fourth week of 5 of the Niyamas, which is the second limb of classical yoga. So we spent 5 weeks studying the yamas, which are the first limb, which are the yoga, don't do those things. Like things like don't, like nonviolence, don't steal, don't lie, things like that. And now we're studying the niyamas, which are the things that you should do. And so what we've studied so far is purification or cleanliness, contentment slash gratitude, depends on how you want to look at it. Um, Self-discipline was last week. And today we come to self-study. And there's one more that we'll do next week, which is surrender. But that's a whole bag of its own. So I'm going to leave that for next week. But self-study is interesting. Actually, the last 3 niyamas are really interesting, which are tapas, svadhyaya, and ishvara pranidhan, or self-discipline, self-study, and surrender. They're interesting in 2 ways, at least in my mind. I'm talking, so I'm going to think that they're interesting. They're interesting because one, this is not the first time that Patanjali talks about these 3 ideas in the sutras. Earlier on, when he talks about the 5 causes of suffering, and maybe we'll do a series on those one day, they're really fun too. He tells you what the antidote to suffering is, and it is actually these 3 practices. So tapas, svadhyaya, ishvara pranidhan, self-discipline, self-study, and surrender. So it's interesting that he brings them up again in the niyamas as the things that you need to do in order to be happy, to not suffer. He's kind of saying it again in another way. The other way that they're interesting, at least in my mind, is that it's really leaning into body, mind, and spirit. So tapas is about showing up. It's about the physical world. It's about practicing. It's about, moving with your willpower and really just being as much in the world as you can through your practice. Svadhyaya, which we're doing this week, is really understanding your mind on all levels and knowing like what makes you tick, like what sets you off, ways that you can create a calmer state of mind, just knowing yourself on those deep levels. And there's so many great practices that you can do to understand your mind. You're doing one already. You're here for yoga. Many of you, if not all of you, have had some sort of bigger or higher awareness of yourselves through the study of yoga and probably meditation as well. Journaling is a great way to look at what your mind is doing. Any kind of mental health practices like coaching, counseling, psychotherapy, psychiatry are all great ways to understand yourself as well. I can't say there's like one way that's good for every single person. We all have to kind of study and find out where are we on the grid of practices that are going to help us to know ourselves better. But yoga is a great way to do it because it is kind of the bridge between the physical realm and the spiritual realm. And we'll get into spirit next week. So we can use our physical practices to see what our minds are doing when we get into some situations, like when a pose is hard. What does our mind do? Do we dissociate? Do we come out of the pose? Do we let ourselves be talked out of the practice? When we like a pose, do we just stay in the flow of it? We don't really leave that practice, even though we might need to grow beyond it. We can all just notice like when sometimes we're in a practice and normally we're calm and peaceful and we get in and we are trying to sit and breathe and we just feel ourselves really agitated. So this is the practice of self-study. This is a practice of looking at ourselves with a kind and compassionate lens, to just find out how we work and to grow from that knowledge. Another practice, and this will kind of be the summation of this, is just mindfulness in general, which mindfulness is beyond just the philosophy of yoga. It exists in many traditions, but just being able to stop and see what your mind is doing in a given moment. Like that is knowledge, like that is understanding who you are and what your quirks are and what parts of you might be up from moment to moment. So this is a big one. It's really important. The practice itself isn't going to be too vigorous, I don't think. I can't say what your experience will be, but compared to some of the other stuff we've done, not so much. But the hard part might be what your mind is doing or how your mind is in the practice. Okay, so be aware of that. And if you do find yourself kind of like irritated or really just noticing you're having some kind of reaction to the practice, try to approach that with a mindset of compassion, if you can, or at least acceptance that it's there. All right, we good? Let's go ahead and get started. Sitting comfortably. Relax your shoulders down your back and feel the crown of the head lift toward the ceiling. Let's take a couple of deep breaths in and out. Allowing your mind to come to the present moment. Aware of this inhale, aware of this exhale. In order to really watch ourselves, to know ourselves, we kind of have to come to a point of stillness or focus. And to help that with your mind, I'd like you to bring your body into complete stillness, the practice of kaya sthira. Of course, you're breathing, but just allow the breath to be easy. And any other movement of your body stops. All effort stops. You may notice the body wanting to move. It actually might move already. And the movement of the body is a movement of your mind. So bring yourself back to stillness and back to focus. Even if there's some discomfort that your body and mind want you to attend to, can you be okay with being just a hair uncomfortable, just for a few moments? Sometimes that itch that seems so important to scratch actually fades on its own. It didn't actually need your attention. Perhaps you notice that your mind wants to wander. You start thinking of something that happened before you got here, something that might happen after you leave, some fantasy that's on neither plane. When that happens, come back to your breath, come back to the moment. Compassion for the mind when it moves, compassion for the body when it moves. And even now, even in this short practice, you may be able to answer the question, who is the one holding the compassion? Who's the one witnessing the mind? Who's the one witnessing your body? This slightly higher consciousness that's not so affected by the highs and lows, the ins and outs. It's from this perspective that we are able to practice Svadhyaya, self-study. So allowing that to be our intention and exploration of today's practice, let's go ahead and chant Om 3 times. Deep breath in to begin. Om. Go ahead and bring your palms to your heart and lower the chin. Honor yourself as you are in this moment, body, breath, energy, and mind. And it's from this place within you that we'll practice tonight. Go ahead and rub the palms together and bring those heated palms over your eyes, brushing back over the top of your head, down your neck, gently bringing yourself back to the space. Good. Welcome back. We're going to start on our backs tonight. So just go ahead and move any props you have off to the side and come to lay on down. Take your time getting there, but once you're on your back, go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Apanasana, as it's sometimes called. And in just that slight movement from a tall seat to on your back, your mind might have started moving around a bit. There's no shame in that. It's actually the job of the mind to move. It's the job of the mind to think. It's our practice today to study that movement, kind of like a scientist on the other side of the glass, watching the experiment, if you will. You can also notice how it feels to lie on your back here, the pressure against the floor. Maybe there's a stretching of the back body, maybe the compression on the abdomen, something else that I'm not naming. What's going on here? What's your relationship to what's going on here? Okay, moving along from this pose itself, go ahead and extend just your left leg all the way down to the floor. Keep your right knee drawn into the chest, feeling a gentle stretch in your hip here, and actually go ahead and flex the left foot, toes pointing toward the ceiling. This will help to keep that leg activated here. You'll get a bit more out of it. Breathe. And then flex your right foot, hold behind the right thigh with both hands, and inhale, extend the right heel toward the ceiling, lengthening the leg up. And then exhale, bring the knee back into your chest. Inhale, extend the leg up again, and exhale, bring it back in. Let's keep going on your breath. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. Starting to lengthen the back of the right leg. Inhale, reach. Exhale back. Keep the right foot flexed. Keep both feet flexed, actually. And we'll go just a couple more rounds. Good. Go ahead and extend the leg toward the ceiling. Pull the toes back, reach through the heel. And just feel the length in the back of the right leg. For those of you who are a bit more flexible, and only if you're a bit more flexible, you could draw the leg towards your body a bit. But don't do that if the knee bends. If the knee bends, you've gone too far. Try to keep the leg straight. So sometimes that might only mean you move it at an inch. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed, your jaw relaxed. Again, noticing your relationship to the exercise. Maybe you like it. Maybe it feels really good. And you're noticing that there's some satisfaction in your mind and body. Perhaps this feels really uncomfortable and you're noticing some gritting of the teeth, either physically or mentally, toward this pose. Can you breathe compassion into both experiences? Some of you are having both experiences. Good. Deep breath in. And exhale, bend the right knee, draw it in toward your chest. Keep holding behind the right thigh with the right hand. Place your left hand on top of your left hip bone. And you're not pressing down at all. You're just reminding that hip to stay on the floor. And then go ahead and draw the right knee out to the side, keeping the left hip grounding. And then keeping the knee out to the side, inhale, extend the leg, reach through the heel, pull your toes back. With your exhale, go ahead and just bend the knee. Keep it out to the side though. Inhale, extend the right leg, and exhale, bring it back in. Now the work here, keep going, is to keep the left hip on the ground as much as possible. Reach and back. A little bit of warm up for the left side of your core. We're going to do a few more rounds. For those of you who want more of a challenge here, you can not hold behind the thigh. You can just release the arm to the ground. Keep that left hip grounding though. If it pops up too much, go ahead and support that leg again. Good. Inhale, extend the right leg out to the side and keep it extended. Reach through the heel, pull the toes back, ground the left hip to the floor, soften your jaw, and notice what comes up in your mind. Because there's plenty in the body. The body, in this case, is probably quite easy to understand where there's sensation, where there's challenge, where there's strain and release. But the mind, that's the kicker here. Can you breathe? To whatever experience you have, can you breathe? Good. And then bend the knee, bring it back to center, and then extend the leg on down. Now, in this moment of respite, notice the difference between the two sides of your body through the right leg and right torso, the left leg, the left torso, the difference between the two. You might have a relationship mentally to that sensation. Maybe it feels better on the right side and still kind of tight, or just maybe neutral on the left side. Watch in the mind. But we will balance out that sensation as much as possible. So go ahead and hug the left knee into your chest. And flex both feet, the right toes pointing toward the ceiling, so the right leg is activated, pulling the toes back on the left foot as well. Just feeling a gentle stretch in the hip here. Good, and then hold behind the left thigh with both hands. And we'll begin this dynamic work with the hamstring, the back of the leg. So inhale, extend the left leg toward the ceiling, and then exhale, bring the knee back in. And then keep going on the rhythm or flow of your breath. Inhale, extend, exhale, bend. Of course, your first awareness here is probably the body, what's going on. You might notice that this side is tighter or more open than the first side. But what's your relationship to that knowledge? Sometimes there's some judgment that comes up like, oh, this is my good leg or this is my bad leg. It's like, does it have to be qualified right now? Noticing the tendency to need to categorize or place criticism or judgment toward your experience. Can it just be an experience without that? Observation without evaluation. Good. Let's do one more. Extend the leg toward the ceiling this next round and hold the pose. Pull the toes back, reach through the heel. Both feet are flexed here. Feeling the length in the back of the left leg. And again, some of you who are more flexible, and only if you are more flexible, you can start to bring the knee or leg closer to your chest. Again, if you do that and your knee starts to bend, you've gone too far. Keep it extended, keep the toes pulling back, and notice your mind's relationship or reaction to this pose. It's going to be a lot of mental awareness tonight. Whatever your experience is, though, can you have compassion for it? Sometimes when we have criticism for our experience, like if, say, you said this was like a hard pose or a bad leg or whatever the story might be, there might be another part of you that criticizes you for being critical. So we don't want to do that. We want to bring compassion, like, oh, there's a need for my mind to try to place judgment or understanding on this experience. But right now, I don't need to do that. I just want to be aware of it. Told you this is all about psychology. This this one, self-study, know the mind. Good. Go ahead and bend the knee into your chest. Keep holding behind the left thigh with the left hand. The right hand comes onto the right hip bone, reminding this hip to stay down. Again, you're not pushing down at all. You're just keeping that there for a nice, gentle reminder. Both feet are flexed. Go ahead and draw the left knee out to the left. And we'll do the same exercise as we did on the first side. So inhale, extend the left leg out, and then bring it back in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. Again, the work here is to keep the right hip grounded as much as possible. You'll feel an activation through the right torso. Inhale, extend, exhale, bend. And again, since we're working asymmetrically, you might notice a difference in your experience on this side from the first side. Just notice if that's true. It doesn't have to have any meaning to it as one side being good or bad. We'll do a couple more. Notice if you're clenching your jaw at all and see if you can relax that tension. And then with this next inhale, extend the left leg out to the left, pull the toes back. Keep the right hip grounded. Breathe. It's activation through the right side of the body to keep you grounded. One more breath. Good. Then go ahead and bend the left knee. Bring it in. Extend it down to the ground. Notice sensation, what's happening in your body. What's happening in your mind in relationship to what's happening in your body. Good. And then go ahead and take the arms out to the side, making a T shape with your body. And if there's furniture nearby, you could always do cactus arms. And then bring just your right knee into your chest. We're going to play around with a twist here. So take a deep breath in. With your exhale, take your right knee across the body toward the floor on your left side. Then inhale, unwind. Exhale, twist. You can turn the chin to the right if you'd like. Then inhale, come back. Exhale, twist. Inhale back. Let's keep going. One more time. Exhale, twist. Inhale, unwind. And then take the right leg down to the floor. And let's do the other side. Left knee comes in. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, take the left knee across the body. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, left knee across, turn the head to the left. Inhale back, and let's keep it on going. Twist, unwind, twist, unwind. A few more times. Good, inhale, unwind. Perfect, go ahead and bring both feet flat to the floor now. And we'll play around with bridge pose. So heel stacking underneath your knees. Feet are about hip distance apart. Inhale, lift the arms overhead, pick up the hips, press the pelvis toward the ceiling. Arms end up all the way overhead. Exhale, release the arms and hips back down together. Inhale, lift back up. And then exhale, lower down. Let's keep this going on your breath. Lift up, inhale, lower down, exhale. Noticing the movement of your spine. And again, noticing if there's any tightness, soreness, any sensation in the body worth noting. And then noticing your relationship to that sensation. And then having compassion for that relationship. A couple more times. Good. The next time that you inhale, lift into the pose, let's go ahead and stay. In addition to pressing the pelvis toward the ceiling, try to feel your chest bow toward your chin, deepening the back bend in the upper back. Soften your throat. Deep breath in. And exhale, release the arms and hips on down. Take an adjusting breath, notice sensation. And then hug your knees into your chest again, hold behind your thighs this time. And with your exhale, rock back to your shoulders. Inhale, rock up to a seat. Exhale, rock back, and then rock up, back and forward. And just keep going, rolling around a bit on the spine here, massaging the muscles surrounding your spine. This might feel good. This might be something that makes you very much aware of tension. Back and forward, back and forward. We're gonna go for about 30 more seconds. In addition to a lot of other benefits of this exercise, one thing it does is that it helps to circulate lymphatic fluid throughout your body, helping to boost your immune system. Another benefit is that if you let it, it's fun, but you have to let it. So in the thinking about self-study, our minds, like sometimes when we get into our yoga practice or any process in general, we can get a little serious about it. It's like, does it have to be that serious? Does it have to be grim? Can we bring an air of, joy to an experience, even if it's hard? It's in the self-study where we get to see where there's opportunity to grow, to heal, to choose something else, whatever that means to you. Good, one more breath. And then rock up to a cross-legged seat. Pay attention inward. Aware of sensation. Then taking a deeper, fuller breath, go ahead and bring yourself on back. Good, and we're gonna come onto hands and knees. So take your time, but transition into table pose. And take a deep breath in, look forward with the heart. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale back up to hands and knees, curl the toes under, downward facing dog. Now we've done a bit already for the hamstrings, so down dog actually might feel different than it normally does when you first come into it in the class. If there's any little movements that are kind of needed or being called for, take the next few breaths to achieve that. Noting that the goal of down dog isn't just to lengthen the back of the legs, but also the spine. So keep the hips lifting toward the ceiling behind you. Good. When you're ready, go ahead and walk your hands back to your feet, coming into Uttanasana. Press palms to shins, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up to standing. Reach, coming palms to heart. All right. So when we are working to be a bit more mindful in postures, we tend to move a bit slower. There's plenty of reasons why we want to move quickly in practices, and we've done a lot of those, and they're really fun, or they can be for some of us. And those are great for building vitality, for like boosting energy, like kind of getting ourselves a bit more awake. But it's harder to be mindful about what we're feeling and thinking when we're moving really, really fast. So we're going to move through a salutation of flow here in a moment. And, we'll start off at a moderate pace because, we want to get it in our bodies and feel what we're going to feel. After a while, I'm going to slow it down quite a bit for you. And Yes, we can slow down the breath. And if you are good with doing that, you can definitely do that. Another thing is like we might just like in the flow, come to a pose and stay there for a couple of breaths before moving on to the next one. And this gives us more of an opportunity to really be aware and present with what we're feeling, what we're thinking, and how we feel about what we're feeling and thinking in each posture. So this is a version of Moon Salute. I know many of you like this one, so we're going to go for that. I might add a couple of postures into it that aren't typical moon salutation stuff, but I'm in charge here, so let's go ahead and do it. Step to the top of your mat, whichever direction that is for you. Go ahead and bring your palms to your heart. And just take this as a moment of stillness before we start moving. Really ground in, feel your feet on the floor, feel your body here, standing here, sensation in the body, energy in your body. Do you feel tired? Do you feel restless? Are you anticipating? Is there a sense of calm already? And then what's your mind's relationship to all of that awareness? And can you be compassionate for all of that? Good. All right, so let's go ahead and move through our first round. With your next inhale, go ahead and sweep your arms down, back, and up. Then exhale, bend your knees, chair prep. Go ahead and drop the body down. Sweep the arms behind you. Then inhale, bring the arms up into chair pose, and let's stay for the exhale. Then inhale, straighten the legs. And then exhale, touch the third eye with the back of the thumbs, touch the heart, and then bring the hands down and touch the floor. Palms to shins, halfway up, inhale. Exhale, fold down and go ahead and step your right foot way back. Take the back knee to the floor. Inhale, crescent lunge. With your exhale, bring the palms together. Touch the thumbs to the back of back of the thumbs to the third eye, then to the heart, to the floor, and then just bring your left foot back, coming into child's pose. Bring your arms down by your sides. With your inhale, we'll come into hero's pose. Sweep the arms out to the side. Lift up onto the knees, reach the arms overhead, turn the heart toward the ceiling. Exhale, bend the elbows, bring the thumbs to the back of the neck, and release down into praying child. Good. Bring the hands flat to the floor in front of you, about shoulder width apart. Keep them planted, slither forward between them. Press the arms straight, come onto the tops of the feet, knees lift, upward facing dog. And exhale, pull back into downward facing dog. Good. Go ahead and lift your right leg high into the air behind you. And with your exhale, swing or carry, step the right foot forward. Bring the back knee to the ground. Crescent lunge on this side. Inhale, lifting up. Bring the palms together. Third eye, heart, earth. Step forward, Uttanasana. Palms to shins, halfway up, inhale. And exhale, fold down. Sweep the arms out to the side. Come all the way up to standing, reaching overhead, inhale. Palms together, third eye, and heart. If you missed a few steps in there, don't worry. We're going to do it a few more times. With your next inhale, sweep the arms down and up. Chair prep, bend the knees, sweep back. Chair pose. Stay for 2 breaths. Good. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, third eye, heart, earth. Palms to shins, come halfway up, 2 breaths. Shoulders down the back, looking straight down. And exhale, fold. Step your left foot way back, knee to the ground, crescent lunge. Inhale, lifting up. Stay for 2. Third eye, heart, earth, downward facing dog. Okay, mix that one up a little bit. That's okay. We're gonna come down onto hands and knees and come into child's pose. All right, taking the arms down by the sides. With your inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, come up onto the knees, reach the arms overhead, hero's pose. Stay for 2 breaths. And then praying child, bend the elbows, take the thumbs to the back of the neck, release down with control from your core. Praying child for 2 breaths. And then plant the hands down. Go ahead and slither between them. Inhale into upward facing dog. Stay for 2. And downward facing dog, exhale. Left leg lifts. And exhale, step the foot forward, knee to the ground. Crescent lunge on this side, lift the arms up. Stay for 2. And third eye, heart, floor, step forward. Palms to shins halfway up. Stay. And fold. Arms out to the side, come all the way up, inhale. Third eye and heart. Take an adjusting breath. This time we'll hold for 3 breaths for each posture. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Chair prep. Chair pose. Stay. Get curious about how you feel about holding this pose for 3 breaths. Perhaps it's fine already. That's good. Maybe there's some aversion to it. Maybe some preference for it. Good. Inhale, straighten the legs. Third eye, heart, earth, palms to shins halfway up. Take the shoulders down the back, look straight down at the floor, 3 breaths. Now the hands are on the shins. Can you get light on the hands? Can you let this be your back working here? Inhale. And exhale, fold down. Step your right foot way back. Knee to the floor, crescent lunge. Inhale, lift. 3 breaths. Taking the shoulders down the back, turning the heart toward the ceiling. Inhale. Third eye, heart, earth, child's pose. Sweep the leg back. Good. Bring your arms down by your sides. We'll come into hero's pose now. Inhale, lift up. And stay. Try to have the core engaged here so this isn't going all into your lower back. It's more about the upper back. Turn the heart toward the ceiling here. And praying child's exhale. Bend the elbows, thumbs to the back of the neck, release down with control. Staying here for 3 as well. And then plant the hands down. When you're ready, slither between them, press the arms straight, shoulders back, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Good, right leg lifts. Step it on through, help it forward, back knee to the ground, crescent lunge, inhale, come up for 3. Sinking into that front knee, turn the heart toward the ceiling. Exhale, third eye, heart, earth. Go ahead and step on forward. Palms to shins. You guessed it. Let's stay. Let's breathe. Looking at the floor, shoulders down the back, light on the hands. Knees are slightly bent, just a little bit. They're still straight, but they're not locked. Exhale, fold. Sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up. Third eye. and heart. Again, take a breath here. For this next round, we're going to hold for 4 breaths. There's a pattern here. And there might be some reactions in your mind for that. We just want to be aware of it and hold compassion for the experience. So inhale, sweep the arms down and up. Chair prep. Chair. Get comfortable. Sink the hips down, feel the heart lift. Shoulders down the back. Breathe. Good. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. Exhale, third eye. Heart, floor. Palms to shins, halfway up. Inhale. Now you can keep the hands on the shins. You could also take the arms straight out to the side if you want to. You could also do straight forward, arms by your ears. But if you don't want to, hands on knees is perfect, or shins is perfect. Inhale. Exhale down, step your left foot way back. Knee to the ground. Crescent lunge. Again, staying for 4 breaths, 4 slow, deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale, third eye, heart, earth, child's pose. Arms by your sides. Coming into Virasana, lifting up, arms overhead, coming onto the knees. Breathe. Inhale. Praying child. Then taking the hands down, upward facing dog. Take the shoulders back. Though the arms are straight, can you make sure that elbows are not locked? Downward facing dog, exhale. Good, left leg lifts. Bring it on through. Back knee down, crescent lunge. Third eye, heart center, earth, step forward. Palms to shins, halfway up, float here. Again, you can come into one of the variations I mentioned before, arms out to the side or even straight forward. Knees are slightly bent here, shoulders stay working down the back. You're still looking at the floor. Don't jut the chin forward. And fold. Sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up. Third eye and heart. You guessed it, 5 breaths, holding for each pose again. And again, as we continue to hold, there might be things like boredom that come up even. So just notice those, hold compassion for those. This is all a part of the process. Hydrating is also part of the process too. So with your next inhale, sweep up, chair prep, chair pose, and get steady. Watching yourself have the experience. Curious about watching yourself have the experience. Where does the mind go when you have to hold a pose like this? How does it feel when you come out? Inhale, straighten the legs. third eye, heart, earth, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Get steady. Again, you're welcome to come into one of the variations I mentioned before. And then there's you having this experience. And there's a one who's watching you have this experience. There's the field, what you're feeling, what you're doing. Then there's a one who knows the field. And fold, right leg stepping back, knee to the ground, crescent lunge. Get steady. And who knows, you might even be able to get still here. Can you get still here? It's okay if you can't, but just if you can, maybe allow there to be a slight bit of striving for that. You're having the experience. There's the one watching you have the experience. Inhale, third eye, exhale, heart, earth, child's pose. Arms by your sides. Coming into Virasana, inhale, lift up. Turning the heart toward the ceiling. Breathe. Inhale. Praying child's pose. 5 breaths here. Planting the hands forward, upward facing dog. Settle in. You might notice when you come into a hard posture that your mind kind of just goes away. It dissociates. Can you have compassion for that as well? Still knowing that you're having the experience. It's good knowledge to know that when you get into a pickle, that your mind has this protective tendency to kind of just take you away. But the knower of the field, the one watching the experience, can help bring that back. Downward facing dog. Let's stay here for 5 breaths this time. Feeling length in the spine especially. Right leg lifts and step it on through. Come into your lunge, inhale. And again, you might strive for a bit of stillness here, some steadiness in this posture. That might help create some steadiness of the mind. Your mind actually might be a bit more on board with this whole process now. Inhale, exhale, third eye, heart center, earth, and step forward. Palms to shins one more time, halfway up and float. Get steady here, get still here. Aware of yourself having the experience. Not so much blended with the doer, but blended with the knower. Knowledge of the self here. Exhale, fold. Sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up. Third eye and heart. Keep the eyes closed for a moment, stay inward. Notice even now as we reach the end of this series, what is going on in your mind? What is going on in the self here? The lower case S self, the body, the movements of the mind. Good, and then allow yourself to come on back. Great job. Holding poses can be quite hard for us mentally. Physically, of course, we have limitations physically, but a lot of the limitations actually exist in our minds first. One thing that my teacher always told us when we were doing our hardcore vinyasa classes is that the mind always gives up before the body does, always. And so when we come into relationship with how the mind relates to a sequence or a pose or any kind of circumstance, we can help it to understand that it can have a bit more resource. We can actually stay longer. We can be more vigilant in our practice. So just hang out for a second. I'm going to quickly demonstrate the next pose for you. We're going to do Viparita Karani, or half shoulder stand, which is it's an inversion. And if you don't want to do it, you could do legs up the wall, or you could just hug your knees into your chest and hang out for a bit. But for those of you who need to know how to get into it, I'll just quickly demonstrate. So in a moment, you'll come back onto your backs. You'll come into bridge pose. And you'll bend the elbows, fingertips toward the ceiling. Now, the closer your elbows are toward your side, the more stable you will be here. Walking your feet back towards your body, you'll come onto the balls of the feet and catch hold of your waistband. And then just hike the knees into your chest, do your best there, and turn the hands around. And then you'll extend the legs toward the ceiling, your toes in line with your eyes. So it's not way overhead. And we're also not in full shoulder stand. The weight of the body is resting in the hands here. We're going to hang out for a bit as best we can. All right. So I'll lead you through that if you're not in it already. Again, if you don't want to do it, you can just scoot yourself up to a wall and bring your legs up the wall. And if doing an inversion in general is just not a part of your practice tonight, that's completely fine as well. Just hug knees to chest. Or you could also flip over into crocodile pose if you know that one. It's a nice grounding posture. Good. So leading you through how to get into it if you're not there already, coming into bridge prep, go ahead and come into bridge pose. Bend the elbows, fingertips toward the ceiling. And then walk your feet back towards your body, catch hold of your waist. Then bring the knees into your chest. Turn the hands around so that you're cupping the hips. And then extend the legs toward the ceiling. Now, if bringing the legs toward the ceiling is too uncomfortable, you can just keep knees to chest here, all right? Do your best. Toes in line with the eyes if the legs are extended. Soften your throat. Relax your belly. Relax your eyes. And become curious. Many of us, we don't take ourselves upside down that often. What's going on here? Of course, there's sensation in your body. Tune into that. And then there's how your mind feels about all of that. If you needed it, come down early. You're okay to do so. But if you can stay up, stay up. Feeling that reverse effect of gravity on your body. See if you can hang out just a bit longer. And then when you're ready to come down, go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. And with as much grace as you can muster, release your hips and legs to the floor. And when you're done, just come into Shavasana for a moment. Don't try to counterpose. Just be, feel, witness. Nothing has to be happening, but noticing if anything is happening. Curious. There's you having the experience, and there's you watching yourself have the experience. Taking a deeper, fuller breath. Go ahead and bring your feet flat to the floor. Heels underneath the knees. We'll come into bridge pose. Your arms can stay down by your side. If you want to come into another variation, you can interlace the fingers under your body and then kind of just roll up onto the shoulders or the sides of the arms. If that's not within your practice, don't do it. Press up a bit higher. And carefully come on down as you're ready. And hug your knees into your chest. And taking the arms out to the side or cactus arms. Take a deep breath in. With your exhale, allow the knees to fall to your left side. Feel your right shoulder and elbow anchor back behind you. You could also turn the chin to the right if you'd like. With a deeper breath, go ahead and bring yourself back to center. And when you're ready, take the knees to the right this time. And feel your left shoulder anchor behind you, the left elbow as well. You can turn your chin to the left if that feels all right. And settle in, watching yourself have this experience. And not just the mind watching the body have the experience, but that witnessing capacity of yourself watching your mind, watching you have the experience. And then taking a deeper breath, go ahead and come back to center again. Hug the knees in and bring the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana or butterfly, holding onto the ankles, the shins, or for those of you with longer arms and more flexible hips, you could hold onto the pinky edge of the feet and draw the feet in toward your groin. Knees going wide. Get steady, breathe. Taking just another couple of breaths here. And as you feel complete in this posture, go ahead and extend your legs down to the floor. Make yourself ready to rest here on your back for the next 5 or so minutes. Bring any support where you need it, preparing your space in any way that feels appropriate. Allowing yourself to come into a state of rest. The first thing that Patanjali says in the Yoga Sutras is now is the time for yoga, so deciding to practice. The second thing is he says that yoga is the stilling of the restless fluctuations of your mind. In other words, it's the stilling, the focusing of the movements of your mind. And in order to do that, the first thing you have to do is to be aware that there's movement at all. So without having to strictly stop those movements, though they might be slower just from the quality of our practice, as your body relaxes and comes into its own physical stillness, and let it be in that stillness, notice where your mind goes. Noticing where the mind goes, when the body gets still, when the time to rest arrives, drifting into the past, drifting into the future, drifting into fantasy. And sometimes it might even float around here in this present moment, awareness of the body, breath, self. Don't judge, just see, curious and compassionate. peace, peace, peace. Taking a deeper, fuller breath. Allow there to be some gentle movement in your hands and feet, your arms and legs. Go ahead and roll to your right side. Go ahead and bring yourself on up to a seat. Sitting tall, come to a comfortable position. Allow the eyes to close and become still in your body. Kaya stira. Not stillness because you were trying to not move, but stillness because there's simply no need to move right now. And as the body stills, we become aware of the only movement that's left, the breath in and out. Just witnessing the breath, not trying to change it, not forcing it in any kind of way. And then relax even your awareness of the breath. And as you do so, you'll start to notice the tendencies, the movements of your consciousness. Yoga asks us not just to be aware of our thoughts, but to understand why we have them to begin with. Where does this tendency originate? How is it conditioned in our system? So you might sense or be aware of a thought that is pervasive for you now. Maybe not, and if that's the case, just continue to watch the movements of your mind. But if there's a thought that just keeps on coming up in one way or another, see if you can focus on that thought and ask it why it's there. What's the reason for this thought? What's it trying to tell you? Is it trying to protect you or warn you about something? Is it trying to give you some information that feels vital to that brainwave? Why is it here? Why is it being pervasive? And then it might give you a reason, it may not. We're just kind of being open to what comes up around that exploration. And indeed, we could keep asking it why. We could keep trying to find the origin point of that thought, why it's here, why it's trying to tell you this. But even stepping one awareness back to understand that it is here for a reason, that it's trying to tell you something, it's trying to maybe protect you or guide you in some kind of way. That we can have compassion that even if this thought has been annoying you, that it has had some kind of good intention for you, even if it's misguided in its application. This is how we study the self, the lower S self. We know the body, we know the mind, we know the relationship between the two, and we are grounded in that aspect of ourselves that can simply be with the experiences, with compassion, curiosity, calmness, centeredness. That is Svadhyaya. It's not easy, but it's our practice to do. So, with that, take a deeper, fuller breath. Bring your palms together at the heart, bowing your chin to that witnessing self, capital S self within you, that higher consciousness. And may this practice and all of your effort here tonight keep you connected to that knower of your field. So until next time, namaste.